I just wish
is
Rojas
wild.
ran
You
with
know
it
how we
this
got
year.
here? The Phillies didn't do much during the trade deadline offensively to help their outfield because the
we
player
have
they
to?
did acquire at the outfield was Austin Hayes. Austin Hayes, who came over to the Phillies from the Baltimore Orioles in the trade, played a total of 22 games with the Phillies. He had a 256, 275, 397 split with an 86 OPS plus, hit a pair of home runs, 2 total. 6 RBIs, 7 extra base hits, just 2 stolen bases, and he was acquired at the trade deadline. Now, for Austin Hayes, who came into this team, he was someone that was a 2023 All-Star for the Orioles. He also had a .699 OPS in 85 games between the Orioles and the Phillies, and he is also expected to... when you look ahead, he's arbitration eligible, so they could tender his contract because he also is expected to possibly be worth a deal around $6.4 million is some of the numbers that I've been heard floated out for him. That's a whole other conversation itself. But for the lone start that he did get, the only start he had, which was Game 3 in the NLDS, was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. As we know for Austin, it was the kidney, well, not in this order. He dealt with the back injury, the hamstring injury, the kidney infection, all 3 injuries that he dealt with throughout the course that had him miss a ton of games. He was brought in with the expectation, as Rob Thompson mentioned, for him to be an everyday left fielder. And then with injuries, wasn't able to play at all. So then it became, is he going to be a platoon guy? And they tried to roll him out there in the playoffs. He was not ready. But for him to have struggled so much, it's unfortunate because of the injuries, you don't know what you could have got from him because he was, to deal with 3 major injuries, especially the kidney infection that have you out.
Yeah.
You just have no idea in those 80 plate appearances really what you can get. He was a negative .1 F-WAR. He had an 85 WRC plus, 0 walk percentage, 23.8 K percent rate. You just have no idea what to expect from it. It just was not a good move. It played out poorly, and not only did he give you bad offense, but he also couldn't stay healthy. So again, I'm not blaming him for getting a kidney infection. That's not on him. Even the hamstring in the back, not fully on him. But you brought him in with the expectation to be an everyday left fielder, and he couldn't even play. Let alone, before the struggles of the offense, he physically couldn't even play. So just a bad deal all around. I give Austin Hayes, and I hate to say this because it was 22 games, and even for me as Professor Ice Queen, it's really hard to say this. I'm going with a D.
Oh, okay. I'm same ballpark. I'm going D+.
Yeah.
And again,
it's a D for me.
The notes, hard to really roast a guy for getting a hamstring and a kidney infection.
Yeah.
But the unfairness of the trade deadline piece added to a championship caliber team is you're stacked up against the other players that were traded at the deadline in similar positions.
Lane Thomas.
And, you see a Lane Thomas contributing in an ALCS for the Guardians and the divisional series. You see Tommy Edman, who becomes the NLCS MVP. Mm-hmm. And these are all trade deadline pieces. And I know, the conversation we've had in our Discord here, by the way, there's new cheap diehard memberships for you if you want to hop in, is kind of and I've seen this on social media, and you can't look to the trade deadline piece to be the catalyst for a championship. You can't count on them to carry you.
Edman.
And then I see Tommy Edman just on fire in the NLCS, helping carry the Dodgers team. Yes, I can expect a trade deadline piece to help the team. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. You identify the holes in your team for 100 games or whatever the trade deadline is, 115, whatever. You identify the holes in your team, and then you go, okay, of who's available, how can I best supplement my team? And Lane Thomas, in hindsight. Now, granted, we have the vision of 2020 in hindsight here, but Lane Thomas was a better pick.
And we talked about Lane Thomas.
Who knows if Randy Arozarena plays better in Philly in that lineup than he does in Seattle? Tommy Edman's on fire. There were pieces that helped teams, and once again, excuse me, and I guess this is more of a Dave Dombrowski grade than a Austin Hayes trade, because the shame of it is he does smash lefties.
The D does go for Dave Dombrowski.
Yeah, but
didn't do well.
This is the guy they've targeted for 2+ years now, according to him. I just didn't see it, and D+. There is that option. They're gonna have to walk away from him. Please do. I do not want Austin. Tyler at the end of the year was like, Austin Hayes is going to be their starting left fielder next year. He still has a year option left. And I was like...
They don't have to. They can tender that contract.
Yeah, so
Chicken tender it away.
I don't want that. I don't think Phillies fans want that. Best of luck, Austin Hayes. Hope you're healthy next year. I just hope it's in a different uniform.
If one of two things had happened, if he was either healthy and struggled, or unhealthy and did well, I think I could justify it. But to be unhealthy and struggle, it's like, well, there's no guarantee you're going to be healthy. So we can bring you back, and all off season you have this winter plan for him to give you better plate appearances. And then you still are dealing with injuries, because he also was dealing with injuries with the Orioles. Like everything that we saw with him in a Phillies uniform is not a surprise. He wasn't a guy that came to Philly and became injured like typically we get in Philly sports. He was a guy that already was dealing with injuries. So you can't have both. And I do think, to your point, when you look around the other trade deadline moves, he was literally probably one of the worst ones. Of all the guys that moved the trade deadline, you are literally getting Grand Slam Lane Thomas, NLCS MVP, kidney infection, and 22 games.
Yeah,
like it's bad.
Everything about it sucked.
JP, where are you at for your Austin Hayes grade?
Yeah, I'm a D as well. It's unfortunate again, right? Like he's dealing with those injuries. But I think more importantly, like these deadlines this year and last year have not been great. I mean,
brutal.
Last year, Michael Lorenzen, Rodolfo
Castro, baby.
Right?
How could you forget Rodolfo?
Dude. And then obviously this, like Estevez, I can't kill. I didn't think he was terrible. I also didn't think he was lights out.
Okay.
Right.
Wasn't great, wasn't bad.
Best walkout song in baseball, but that doesn't help win baseball games. But yeah, then you have Austin Hayes, who we all thought that would be great, and it really was just like, dude, just hit the lefties, man. That's what Brandon Marsh struggled. Just hit those lefties, and unfortunately, he just couldn't get really good on the field to begin with. But I'm with you, James. I mean, I wouldn't be mad on parting ways with this one, but it's just tough. But I'm gonna go with D. It's kind of hard to kind of criticize him as well.
Triple D's for Austin Hayes, and not any good ones. Not great when you are acquired at the trade deadline, and it's a really bad move. Again, it just was not a good fit, and would not be upset if Austin Hayes moved on.
We all silly like the mayor.